Hello, and welcome to the cryptocurrency news channel. Looks like the Bitcoin Cash halving didn't really do anything to Bitcoin Cash price. But we're not here to talk about that this time. This is a special episode that's going to focus on YouTube, COPPA, and why YouTube is actually turning into basically Disney, but not Disney. Because they're actually destroying like a lot of creators. They're trying to focus on mainstream. That's for advertising revenue, but they've been forced by the federal government, especially by the FTC. And we're going to focus on senators who's actually pushing these laws to force YouTube to become more kid-friendly, but then doesn't want them actually dealing with kids. So partly it's YouTube's fault because they said they're over 13, and then they went to their advertisers and said, hey, we have kids on our platform. YouTube's dumb for doing that, for advertising dollars, and they actually got caught out doing that. But this COPPA Act, which actually has existed since 1998, but is being reinforced online by certain senators that don't seem to know how the internet works, but are writing extremely restrictive laws for the internet. Now, there have been, when the FTC published these restrictions, like a lot of YouTube content creators actually went and wrote comments, and they received hundreds of thousands of comments to get the FTC to loosen some restrictions on online collecting data and advertising. Now, online collecting data is basically like collecting your surfing habits. They don't actually know who you are. They don't really know who you are as a person. They just kind of collect your surfing habits. There's no way for YouTube or any other website to tell like if you're actually over 13 years old or if you're a kid or something. A lot of kids actually use their parents' account, and there's no way for like these online platforms to tell that, hey, it's not the parent, it's the kid that they're collecting information from. And if you just like have a little box, people will just hit I accept. Like kids will not actually tell the truth about that. They see like, oh, cookies, whatever, I accept. There's no way for like YouTube, Snapchat, Facebook, whatever, to actually know that you are not quite 13 years old and you're just using your parents' account. But you know what that means? It means the parents don't give a crap. If they're actually like letting their kids use their account to access these websites, it means the parents don't care. That means the FTC is trying to enforce something that parents really don't care about because they don't think it's a threat to their kids. And let's be real, like blocking this stuff on YouTube is not going to help anyone. It's not protecting anyone. Kids see this stuff all the time on the news, whether it's Fox News, CNN, CNBC, MSNBC, ABC News, or if at school, they hear about it at school. So they're not really being protected. This kind of act doesn't really serve any purpose because if they don't find it on YouTube, they'll find it on some other channel. And almost every channel tracks like your advertising habits per computer. But get this right, they're tracking it per computer. They're not actually tracking it per person. So if 5 people use the same computer and the same browser, the internet tracking companies think that's the same person because all they do is track that computer's browsing history and make kind of a profile to show ads based on that. They have no idea who the hell you actually are. They just know that, hey, this computer has been used to basically surf these things. So if there's 100 people using the same computer, they think that those 100 people are the exact same person. Now, the thing is, the main person who's actually writing these rules, making life hard for content creators like myself and making it easier for us to get strikes, making it harder for everyone to get their content online. This guy is called Ed Markey, and he's a senator from Massachusetts. Now, you can give all the YouTube comments that you can actually give all the comments you want to the FTC. That may not matter, but we got to hurt these guys where it actually matters, at the ballot box. Now, he's a Democrat from Massachusetts, but the thing is, if you still want to vote Democratic because you agree with their other policies, you don't have to actually beat him. You don't have to beat him at the general election. You can primary him. And there is actually a pretty popular challenger that's actually slightly ahead of this guy in the polls. So if you're from a Democrat from Massachusetts and you don't like these YouTube policies, you see your favorite content creators actually going offline or quitting YouTube, you know why. It's because this guy made like these restrictions that made the FTC actually focus these restrictions on content creators, making it almost impossible for them to navigate the rules and making YouTube having to clamp down on these content creators. And that's why many of them are quitting, especially like the content creators who do like cartoons, anime, or like games, because gaming, they just assume that every gaming channel is for kids, and every gaming channel is targeted towards kids under 13, regardless of what the content actually is, making it impossible for people to actually monetize those specific channels on YouTube And because of that, many of them are actually going. So remember that name, Ed Markey, senator from Massachusetts. And Joe Kennedy III, yes, he is of the Kennedy family. Joe Kennedy III is actually challenging him for that primary spot. And if you are a Democrat, you should actually go to that primary and vote for Joe Kennedy III and make it known to these people that you are actually primarying him out because of this specific act. And it's not only the COPPA Act, it's also the Kids Act that he's actually writing, extending those protections from children from 13 to 16. That would make it almost impossible for YouTube to operate their channel. And please, give me a break. Like high school kids, like middle school kids, junior high kids, they see this stuff all the time at school, on TV, you know, in other forms of media, in text messages from their friends. You're not protecting anyone. You're not protecting any 16-year-old kid from anything. And here's the thing. There are these things called parental controls on the computer, and parents are always saying, you know what? It's our kid. We should be able to raise them. Well, that's the thing. On the other side, if it's your kid and you should be able to raise them, then you have to take full responsibility. It's not YouTube or my job to actually babysit your kid. Yes, the government should take certain steps to like weed out like child predators and illegal stuff. But you know, like like the new act, the Kids Act, is targeting like unboxing videos. That means I can't unbox this camera, make a video on YouTube, and YouTube can't recommend that video. Regardless if that's a paid video or not, I'm fine with me having to disclose that's a paid video. I've never done a paid video like that, but I'm fine with me having to disclose that's a paid video. But YouTube should be able to recommend that. There should be no rule against YouTube recommending such videos. I think that's just completely nonsense. And not only that, this new kids bill, they're targeting any sponsored video. So basically, if it's a video and there's like an advertisement sponsored by, you know, Squarespace or something, YouTube cannot recommend that video. This is devastating to all creators. Now, I don't make my money that way. I use YouTube generic ads, but there are many of my favorite creators. A lot of the camera people, like a lot of the camera channels, a lot of like the history channels, they actually have sponsors, and YouTube will not be able to recommend those videos to kids, and not to kids, to anyone. And that's devastating for those people. And those people provide good factual information. Who cares if they're sponsored and make a little bit of money? I don't understand. Ed Markey's like 70-something years old. So he's an old guy that has no idea how technology works. And he's writing these rules like it's back in 1980. But the other guy who's actually co-sponsoring has no excuse. He doesn't have that age excuse. He's a United States senator from Missouri called Josh Hawley. He's only 40 years old, and he's the youngest sitting senator in Congress. Now, he won in 2018, so he's not up for election until 2024. But when 2024 comes around, we should primary this. If you're a Republican, you should primary this guy in the primaries. If you are a Democrat, you should vote against him in the general. If you're from Missouri, if you're from Massachusetts, Ed Markey is up for the primary. You should definitely vote for Joe Kennedy III if you actually care about creators. And if you care about creators, YouTube, because it's not really YouTube's fault. They have to follow the federal rules. And if the federal rules say they have to abide with COPPA and they have to like screw content creators, they will do that because they don't really have a recourse in that. They either have to shut down or follow the FTC's rules. So basically, we need to make these guys know that there is a heavy political price to pay, and that we're more of a force than those special interest groups that actually try to push these laws that most parents just don't care about. Because, you know, the thing is, there is like I said, there's a very easy way for parents to put Windows, safety measures. You can create different accounts, and you can create child accounts. And you know what? You can just straight up block YouTube from the kid if you don't want them accessing YouTube. But you know what? Most parents don't. You know, even if they have accounts, they actually let their kid use their account because it's more convenient, which means parents don't give a crap. And the only people that give a crap are those special interest groups and maybe the FTC, because they're forced to give a crap by those special interest groups. So basically, they're passing laws that don't help anyone, that basically screw content creators, and that parents don't even care about. So why are they doing it? It's just because of political pressure from special interest groups. Well, the thing is, YouTube content creators, we need to unite. We need to make them know that we're a special interest group. We need to make them know that, hey, it's going to cost them tens of thousands of votes, or at least thousands of votes in the primary if they don't actually listen to us and start actually seeing things kind of our way, because it is their fault. It is at least a large part of their fault, of the FTC and these senators like Ed Markey and Josh Hawley, that we are actually being screwed left and right. So we need to unite as a community, both YouTube content creators and YouTube content watchers. And I know there's millions of you out there, and we need to go to these primaries in Massachusetts, or we can donate to these candidates if we're not in Massachusetts. But especially if you live in Massachusetts, you need to get this guy out. His name is Ed Markey. Vote for Joe Kennedy 3. Vote for Joe Kennedy 3 in their Senate primary. And, you know, even you can vote the other way, vote Republican and get this guy out, because we don't really need that. We don't really need anything where, you know, YouTube somehow can't decide if you're under 16 or not, because several people use the same computer and the parents just don't care and they don't really use the parental controls. That's completely on the parents. It's your job, it's your kid, it's your responsibility. You don't want the government like acting like you don't want the government deciding like what they can do, like how, and you don't want the government to decide how you can parent. Well, that also gives you full responsibility for what they see online. And so if the parents don't care, there should be no rules against it. The only thing the government should do is like get out get the child predators out, and also like maybe take away some of the harmful and dangerous stuff that could be harmful for your kid. But you know, having them see a few ads is not that dangerous. And plus, child targeted ads are generally not illegal. They're basically like, hey, buy this plush toy, dude. And the thing is, if your kid comes up to you and asks for a plush toy, you can always say no. If you don't say no, that's entirely on you and not the advertiser. So that's my little rant for today. Get these guys out, especially Ed Markey, and write these senators mails so they know that there's a large political price to pay if they go forward with this stuff. We can't let this Kids Act pass, and we need to get the FTC to roll back COPPA for like digital websites. Because the thing is, like I said, basically like YouTube and Google, they collect data by computer. They don't actually know who's sitting in front of the computer, and there's no way for them to know who's actually sitting in front of the computer, especially if one computer is being used by several people in a house. So that's what I have to say for today. Let me know what you think, like and subscribe, and hit that bell notifications button. Thank you, and have a nice day.